The autumn is a great time of the year. It's too bad it's followed by winter. We are missing so much by depending on the local mega grocery stores to supply all the nutritional needs of our family. The days of wholesome goodness prepared by loving hands at home are indeed nearly gone. Together, let's look at some precious memories from the days of our great-grandparents before those are forever gone also. My grandmother used to tell me that the best thing about living in the early 1900s was watching as fall wrought brilliant color changes all around. She would recall large areas of land, woods, and fields that have now become endless miles of homes and factories. All that land used to produce delicious foods to be gathered and prepared for use all year long, much of it free just for the collecting. Grandma would say woods and fields were everywhere, and they were crossed by patchworks of unpaved roads that were traveled by horse-drawn wagons. In those days, almost all roads led to the woods and fields, broken intermittently by villages. Grandma always said the fall was her favorite time. There were fruits and vegetables to harvest, nuts to gather, and her kitchen became a sort of a canning factory. The kitchen stove was hot as wood burned away inside, and the entire house was filled with the aroma of the things that were cooking. It was like the perfect combination of heat, juices, and vegetables cooking both day and night. I remember a huge crock my grandmother had and can clearly recall the pungent aroma of vinegar and spices as sauerkraut was being made in it. Recently, at a thrift store here in Saginaw, Michigan, I saw for sale a large old copper boiler. It called to mind a story I'd heard from Grandma about one of her uncles stirring with a wooden paddle in just such a copper boiler. As she spoke, I could almost smell the apple cider boiling down with added spices which would become a delectable apple butter. Yes, to produce such delicacies in the home, or the home kitchen, is time-intensive, but the result was oh so much better than the store-bought products today that there were no GMOs. You don't really know what you're eating anymore. Grandma would reminisce of when she was a child and how she and the other kids would hang out in the kitchen hoping to sample what was being made. They craved the delicious morsels scraped from the bottom of pans and kettles. I've been told her brothers were never satisfied with those leftover samples from the pans and would often tramp off through the woods searching for walnuts, butternuts, hickory, and beech nuts. The woodlands were an abundance of treats just there for the gathering. The times have changed so much, and I dare say not really for the better, especially when you consider the genetically modified crap that we are forced to eat in our day and age. I remember even when I was a kid, we'd go up north for vacations, or we'd go for long drives out in the country. Dad would take us, and it wasn't unusual for him to stop the car and go down in the ditch and bring up a whole cornucopia of fresh asparagus, which is absolutely delicious when creamed. And then I remember he loved to go to the old apple orchards that were no longer tended, and there would look for a variety of apple called the russet, which you don't see much of anymore. Well, it's not a popular variety anymore. I remember the skin being very rough instead of smooth like the apples people prefer nowadays, but it was a hardier apple and definitely a firmer texture. But they were times when day and night, you felt safe. And of course, there were always delicious things to be eaten. And unfortunately, those days are, as I said, almost gone. Well, thanks for stopping by, and if you like this, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. God bless, and have a great day.